There is an invisible frequency that few have discovered, a specific vibration that, when tuned correctly, attracts wealth like a powerful magnet attracts metal. Most people go their entire lives without ever accessing this frequency, seeking wealth in the wrong places, with the wrong actions, and, most importantly, with the wrong mental state. This is a truth that has remained hidden for centuries, guarded by those who understood the deepest workings of universal laws. Not out of selfishness, but because such knowledge can only be truly understood when we are ready to receive it. Wallace D. Wattles, the master who revealed the science of getting rich more than a century ago, already understood something that modern quantum physics would only confirm decades later. He said, "There is a thinking substance of which all things are made, and which, in its original state, penetrates, permeates, and fills the spaces of the universe. This substance responds to the energetic frequency that we emit, and this is exactly what determines our ability to attract or repel abundance." Look around you. Notice how some people seem to attract wealth with almost magical ease, while others struggle endlessly without ever being able to escape scarcity. The difference is not in effort, intelligence, or even the opportunities they had. The difference is in the vibrational frequency that they constantly emit. The frequency of wealth is not something mystical or inaccessible. Although it seems like a secret to those who live in scarcity, it's a perfect combination of thought, feeling, and action, all aligned in the same direction. Think for a moment, how often do you desire wealth, but at the same time carry deep doubts about deserving it or being able to obtain it? How many times do you declare that you want abundance, but internally you vibrate at the frequency of fear and scarcity? The truth is that most people send contradictory signals to the universe, like a radio trying to tune to two stations at once, producing only static and confusion. Your lips speak of abundance, but your heart beats to the rhythm of fear. Your hands work for prosperity, but your subconscious is programmed for failure. The great secret that the true masters of abundance have discovered is that wealth is not something to be pursued in the external world. It is a frequency to be tuned internally. When you vibrate at the correct frequency, wealth has no choice but to manifest in your life, just as an apple has no choice but to fall when released into the air, obeying gravity. This is transformative knowledge that few possess, but that is available to all who are ready to understand it and, more importantly, live it. It is knowledge that goes beyond mere intellectual understanding. It requires a complete transformation in the way you relate to reality. From now on, you will begin to understand why certain people seem to have a Midas touch, turning everything they touch into gold, while others live in constant struggle and scarcity. Most importantly, you will discover how to shift your own energetic frequency to align with the natural vibration of unlimited abundance. Within every human being, there are two minds operating simultaneously, each with its own set of beliefs and programming about money and abundance. The conscious mind, the one with which you actively think, plan, and make decisions, can be completely aligned with the desire for prosperity. You can read books about wealth, take investment courses, set ambitious goals, repeat positive affirmations. But there is a second, much more powerful mind operating in the shadows, the subconscious. This deeper mind is like the invisible captain of the ship of your life, determining its course based on schedules you don't even know exist. And when these two minds conflict, it is always the subconscious that wins the battle. Imagine a man named Thomas. Every day, he wakes up and tells himself that he wants prosperity, read books about wealth, take investment courses, work tirelessly. But when Thomas looks at his bank account, he feels a tightness in his chest. When you see someone successful, an automatic thought arises, that will never happen to me. When an opportunity appears, the first impulse is to doubt. What if I fail? What if I lose everything? Thomas doesn't realize it, but he is emitting to opposing frequencies with his words and external actions. He asks for wealth. With your internal feelings and beliefs reinforces scarcity. The result, neutrality, effort. Without proportional results, a life of constant struggle where abundance never fully establishes itself. This internal conflict creates energetic frequency interference, like a radio. that cannot tune into a clear station because it is picking up conflicting signals. And as long as this conflict remains, the thinking substance of the universe cannot respond coherently. Where do these limiting subconscious programming come from? These are patterns inherited from our families, absorbed from society, crystallized through traumatic experiences with money. They're like old software running in the background, silently dominating our financial decisions. Have you ever noticed how certain financial patterns repeat themselves in your life? How come you always seem to end up with the same amount of money, no matter how much you earn? How do promising opportunities seem to evaporate at the last moment? How uncomfortable do you feel when you begin to experience a new level of abundance? These are clear signs that your subconscious mind is programmed to keep you in a financial comfort zone, even if that zone is one of scarcity. Because to the subconscious, the familiar is safe, even when the familiar is painful. The first step to changing your energetic frequency in relation to wealth is to recognize that these two mental levels exist and begin the process of aligning them. When conscious and subconscious emit the same frequency, manifestation becomes not only possible, but inevitable. It's like when a violinist perfectly adjusts the strings of his instrument. Suddenly the dissonance disappears and perfect harmony appears. Likewise, when your two minds vibrate in unison at the frequency of abundance, the universe responds with a clarity and power that seems miraculous to those who do not understand the law. There is a living intelligence that permeates the entire universe, a primordial substance from which all things are formed and to which all things return. Wallace D. Wattles called it thinking substance, a universal raw material that responds to human thought and shapes itself according to our mental and emotional vibrations. There is a thinking substance of which all things are made, wrote Wattles, and which, in its original state, pervades, penetrates, and fills the interstices of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing which is imagined by the thought. What seemed an esoteric concept when Wattles introduced it in 1910 is now surprisingly echoed in the discoveries of modern quantum physics. Physicists have discovered that, at the subatomic level, matter is not solid as it appears, but a vibrational field of energy and information. They discovered that the observer affects the behavior of the observed particles, a phenomenon that suggests a deep connection between consciousness and material reality. In experiments like the double slit, scientists demonstrated how subatomic particles behave like waves or particles, depending on the observer's expectations. In other words, physical reality responds to the consciousness that observes it. This revolutionary discovery of modern science confirms what ancient teachers and philosophers like Wattles already intuitively understood. The universe is responsive to our consciousness. It vibrates in harmony with our dominant mental and emotional frequencies, just as a tuning fork can make another tuning fork vibrate at the same frequency, without any physical contact. Its energetic vibration causes the universal thinking substance to vibrate in harmony, manifesting material circumstances that correspond to its internal frequency. That's why some people seem to attract wealth without apparent effort. It's not that they don't work or that they're lucky. It's that their internal frequency is so perfectly in tune with abundance that the universe responds naturally, manifesting opportunities, connections, and favorable circumstances that seem almost magical to outside observers. This is the true law of attraction, far beyond the simplification presented in certain popular books. It's not just about thinking positively or visualizing what you want. It's about fundamentally altering your vibrational frequency at all levels of your being: thought, emotion, belief, identity, and action. Thinking substance does not respond to what you consciously want or what you claim to want. It responds to what you vibrationally are, to the sum total of your subconscious thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and expectations. It responds to your dominant frequency, not your occasional desires. When you understand this fundamental truth, you realize that manifesting wealth is not a matter of luck, privilege, or even hard work in the traditional sense. It's a matter of vibrational alignment, precisely in tune with the frequency of abundance. And this tuning doesn't just happen on a mental level or through superficial statements. It happens when your entire being, body, mind, emotion, and spirit vibrates in unison with the frequency of prosperity. When you become the living embodiment of abundance, before you even see it manifest in your bank account, to consistently tune into the energetic frequency of wealth, we need to establish 3 fundamental pillars that together create an irresistible vibrational field for the manifestation of abundance. These pillars do not work in isolation, they reinforce each other, creating a circuit of energy that is constantly amplified. The first pillar is aligned thinking. This is not just any wealth thinking, but absolute mental clarity about what you want to create and an unshakable conviction that it already exists in potential. It is the ability to maintain your mental focus on abundance, even when external circumstances seem to contradict it. Wallace D. Wattles insisted on the importance of what he called thinking in a certain way, a specific way of using the mind that goes beyond superficial positive thinking. It is a state of mental certainty so profound that it completely excludes doubt. You must form a clear and definite mental picture of what you want, wrote Wattles. You can't convey an idea unless you have it yourself. This mental clarity cannot be vague or generalized. It must be specific, vivid, and detailed. It's not enough to think I want to be rich. It is necessary to have a clear vision of what this wealth will look like, how it will manifest itself, how it will feel when it materializes. And most importantly, this thought must be maintained consistently, without being contaminated by doubts, fears, or worries. It is the mental discipline of denying attention to everything that contradicts your vision of abundance. The second pillar is magnetic feeling. This is perhaps the most powerful and also the most overlooked element in wealth creation. The emotional frequency you hold around money and abundance is the true magnet that attracts or repels prosperity. Thinking substance responds much more intensely to emotions than to thoughts. You may have conscious thoughts of wealth, but if your dominant emotions are fear, anxiety, or doubt regarding money, these emotions will prevail in creating your reality. The secret here is to cultivate the feeling of having already received what you want. It is the ability to generate genuine gratitude, joy, and enthusiasm for wealth as if it were already your current reality, not a future possibility. It's not about faking emotions or using empty statements. It's about really feeling, in every cell of your body, the emotion of realized wealth. It is savoring the feeling of abundance in advance, allowing this emotion to fill your entire being. Observe how truly prosperous people feel about money. There is no anxiety, fear, or obsession. There is a feeling of comfort, familiarity, and trust, as if abundance is your natural state of being. This is the emotional state you need to cultivate to maintain the magnetic frequency of wealth. The third pillar is inspired action. This is the element that anchors your energetic frequency on the material plane. These are actions that flow naturally from your aligned state of being, not forced actions based on lack or fear. Wallace D. Wattles made a crucial distinction between acting a certain way and simply acting hard, or working hard. Action aligned with the frequency of wealth has specific qualities. It is efficient, focused, confident, and, above all, inspired from the inside out. You must act now, Wattles emphasized. Not tomorrow, not the next day, but right now. This urgency doesn't come from fear or anxiety, but from an irresistible inner drive to express your purpose in the world. Inspired action doesn't feel like work in the traditional sense. It flows effortlessly, with joy and enthusiasm, even when it requires intense concentration. It's the kind of action that leaves you energized, not exhausted, because it's aligned with your true nature. When these 3 pillars, aligned thought, magnetic feeling, and inspired action, work in harmony, they create a vibrational field so powerful that the manifestation of wealth becomes inevitable. It is no longer a question of if, but only of when and how abundance will materialize in your life. Even with knowledge of the 3 pillars of abundance frequency, many people continue to face mysterious blocks in their ability to tune into and maintain this vibration. This happens because there are invisible saboteurs, subtle but powerful forces, that constantly work to misalign your energetic frequency. The first and most persistent saboteur is subconscious fear. This is not the superficial and obvious fear. like the fear of losing money or failing in an investment. It's a deeper, often unconscious fear, the fear that abundance will somehow change your identity, alienate people you love, or bring responsibilities you don't feel prepared for. This subconscious fear creates what psychologists call self-sabotage, seemingly irrational behaviors that ensure you stay in your financial comfort zone. You may consciously desire wealth, but subconsciously fear the changes it will bring to your life and identity. Notice the patterns. In your life, have you ever been close to a big financial breakthrough, only to have it disappear at the last moment? Have you ever received an unexpected sum of money, only to quickly lose it through impulsive decisions? These are signs that your subconscious fear is interfering with your abundance frequency. The second saboteur is specific limiting beliefs about money and worthiness. These are deeply rooted narratives you carry about what it means to be rich, about how money is made, and about your own ability and merit to possess abundance. Beliefs such as money is the root of all evil. Rich people are greedy. It is spiritual to be poor. I'm not good with money, or people like me don't get rich are toxic programming that distort your vibrational frequency, preventing it from aligning with abundance. These beliefs are not yours. They were implanted in you by your family, by society, by traumatic experiences, by misinterpretations of religious or philosophical texts. But once internalized, they operate as if they were absolute truths, shaping your financial reality without you even realizing it. The third saboteur is comparison and envy. When you observe the abundance of others from a place of scarcity, you create a vibrational frequency of separation and lack, the exact opposite of the frequency you want to cultivate. Envy is particularly toxic because it emits a dual frequency of I want this, and I resent those who have this. This contradiction creates a destructive interference in your energy field, making it impossible to attract what you simultaneously desire and feel. The fourth saboteur is the energetic environment in which you live, the people you spend most of your time with, the physical spaces you inhabit, the media you consume. All transmit specific frequencies that inevitably influence your own vibration. If you are constantly immersed in conversations about scarcity, if your social circle reinforces limiting beliefs about money, if your favorite media emphasizes stories of economic crisis, all of this affects your ability to maintain the frequency of abundance. How to neutralize these saboteurs? The first step is awareness. What was operating in the shadows loses power when brought into the light of consciousness. Identifying these patterns is the beginning of liberation. The second step is compassionate detachment. Recognize that these programmings are not your true identity. They are just conditionings that can be observed, understood, and gradually released. The third step is conscious reprogramming. It is possible to rewrite your internal narratives about money, wealth, and abundance. It is possible to create new neurological and energetic associations that support, rather than sabotage, your prosperity frequency. Now that we know the pillars of the frequency of abundance and identified the saboteurs that misalign this vibration, it's time to explore the practical process of energetic reprogramming. How can we reset our internal frequencies so that wealth flows naturally, effortlessly, as an automatic state of being? The most powerful method of reprogramming begins with a practice we call identity immersion. This technique goes beyond traditional visualization or positive affirmations. It is a profound process of rebuilding your self-image in relation to wealth. Most people try to attract wealth from an identity of someone who does not have wealth. This is the fundamental error that stops most attempts at manifestation. They are essentially declaring, I, a person who does not have abundance, desire to have abundance. This position automatically creates resistance, as it reinforces the current identity of lack. Identity immersion completely reverses this dynamic. Instead of viewing wealth as something external to be obtained, you fully immerse yourself in the experience of being someone who already embodies abundance. On every level of your being, start by setting aside 20 minutes a day for this practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted. Close your eyes and start breathing deeply and slowly. With each exhale, release all identifications with your current financial situation. Now, Allow yourself to fully enter a state where unlimited abundance is already your natural reality. Feel how your body moves, how you breathe, how your eyes see the world, how you make decisions, how you relate to money, all from this new identity of realized prosperity. It is not an attempt to convince yourself. It is not a visualization exercise. It is a direct, immersive experience of a state of being that already exists within you as potential. You are simply aligning yourself with this frequency that is already present in the infinite field of possibilities. Wallace D. Wattles insisted on this crucial point. Think of the truth of what you want, not the fiction. Think and feel that you already have what you want, rather than thinking that you will have it in the future. This daily practice of identity immersion begins to reconfigure your neurological and energetic patterns, creating new pathways in the brain and energetic field that naturally support the manifestation of abundance. Complementing this core practice, establish a daily energy hygiene regimen to keep your vibration high. This includes gratitude meditation. Start each day with 5 minutes of deep, genuine gratitude for all the abundance that already exists in your life, no matter how small it may seem. Gratitude is one of the most powerful frequencies of attraction, as it puts you in perfect alignment with the law of receiving. Truth statements. Unlike traditional statements, truth statements don't try to convince your mind of something it doesn't already believe. Instead, they identify and amplify truths that already exist on some level. I'm naturally aligned with prosperity, or abundance flows to me through multiple channels. Are examples of statements that can resonate as truths, even if not yet fully realized. Conscious environment. Deliberately restructure your physical, social, and mental environment to support your new frequency. This might mean rearranging your space to reflect abundance, becoming aware of the conversations you participate in, carefully selecting the media you consume, and perhaps even reconsidering some relationships that consistently sap your energy. Aligned decisions. Practice making small daily decisions from your abundance identity, not your scarcity identity. Constantly ask yourself, how would someone who naturally embodies prosperity act in this situation? And then act from that place, even if it initially feels uncomfortable. These practices are not just spiritual exercises, they are practical neurological and energetic reprogramming tools. Studies in neuroplasticity demonstrate that the brain constantly reconfigures itself based on our repeated experiences. By consistently practicing these methods, you are literally rebuilding the neural circuits that support your relationship with abundance. The result is not just a gradual improvement in your financial circumstances, it is a complete transformation in your experience of reality. Wealth stops being something you desperately fight for and becomes a natural expression of your state of being. Just as someone who has mastered a musical instrument no longer needs to consciously think about each note, the music simply flows through them. You reach a state in which prosperity flows through you effortlessly, like an automatic expression of your natural frequency. Consider the case of Maria, a therapist who struggled financially for years, charging less than she was worth and constantly taking on clients who couldn't pay in full. After 3 months of practicing identity immersion and complementary techniques daily, she noticed a surprising change. Without any conscious effort, he began to attract customers who not only paid in full, but did so with gratitude and joy. I haven't changed my marketing or my business strategy, Maria reported. I changed my frequency, and the outside world just responded. This is the promise of energetic reprogramming. There is no need to desperately manipulate the external world. Simply align your internal frequency, and the external will naturally reorganize itself in harmony with your new vibration. The great revelation that Wattles brought us is this: wealth is not just an external result, but an internal frequency that you must maintain before you even see the results. You don't have to struggle to create wealth. You need to vibrate as if wealth were already your natural reality. You need to feel abundance as your normal state, not as a distant destination. The energetic frequency of wealth knows no effort. It knows alignment. It knows no doubt. It knows certainty. It does not know conditional futures. It only knows the absolute present. Along this journey, we discover profound truths about the vibratory nature of reality. We learn that the universe responds not to our superficial desires, but to our dominant energetic frequency. We understand how the two minds, conscious and subconscious, need to be in harmony to emit a coherent signal to thinking substance. We explore the three fundamental pillars of the frequency of abundance: aligned thinking that maintains a clear and unwavering vision, the magnetic feeling that generates the emotional state of having already received, and the inspired action that naturally flows from this aligned state of being. We identify the invisible saboteurs that interfere with our frequency: subconscious fears, limiting beliefs, comparison and envy, and the energetic environment in which we live. And, most importantly, we learn practical techniques for reprogramming our vibration, especially through the powerful practice of identity immersion. Now, the choice is yours. You can continue to live in the frequency of scarcity, sending contradictory signals to the universe and experiencing the fragmented results this inevitably produces. Or you can take conscious control of your energetic vibration and deliberately realign yourself with the natural frequency of unlimited abundance. This is not a decision to be made lightly. It requires commitment, consistent practice, and, above all, a willingness to let go of limiting identities and beliefs that may have been with you for decades. But the results are incomparable. Not just a marginal improvement in your financial circumstances, but a complete transformation in your experience of material reality, a state in which prosperity flows to you and through you as its natural expression, without struggle, without anxiety, without the feeling that something is always missing. Here is my invitation to you: start today. Don't wait until you're ready or until your external circumstances change. Start right where you are, with the resources you already have. Dedicate 20 minutes today to your first identity immersion session. Allow yourself to experience, even if briefly, what it would be like to exist from the identity of someone for whom unlimited abundance is the natural state of being. Feel it in every cell of your body. Breathe this. Become that, even if for a few minutes. This first step, taken with sincere intention, already begins to alter your energetic frequency. It's like tuning a radio to a news station. Instantly, you start receiving a different signal. And tomorrow, do it again. And the next day. And the next. Consistency is essential in this reprogramming process. Each daily practice reinforces new neurological and energetic patterns until the frequency of abundance becomes your automatic state of being. From today onwards, your only task is to tune into the correct frequency. Think rich, feel rich, act as if wealth is your natural state of being. When you walk through life emitting the frequency of abundance, with every thought, every emotion, every decision, the universe has no choice but to respond in kind. Wealth is not something you chase. It's something you attract by vibrating at your natural frequency. And that frequency is available to you right now, in this very moment. The only question left is, are you ready to tune in?